Welcome to the Emancipate Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, certified religious transition and trauma recovery coach, Terry Hales. I help people step out of the shadows of religious fear and shame and embrace their authentic selves with love and empathy. If you're ready to throw off the shackles of learned binary thinking and explore a more nuanced approach to life, this is your playground. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Emancipate Your Mind podcast. I'm Terry Hales, and I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. Some of you may know me from my YouTube and Instagram as Emancipated Molly, where I've led an account for the past 2 years on emotionally and psychologically healthy religious transitions. But some of you have probably never heard of me before. And so to those of you who have no idea who you're talking with, I really wanted to take some time and introduce myself and make you feel at home here, because that's really what this is about. I want you to feel safe. This is going to be a space of vulnerability. It's going to be a space to explore some difficult topics. It's going to be a space to just throw off like limiting beliefs and all of the things that keep us from living authentic lives after a religious transition. We're going to be exploring some of the pieces of our time in religion. I'm going to be having guest speakers on. A lot of times you'll hear my husband get on. He is a marriage and family therapist, and he often deals with couples who are different religions. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about just all kinds of things, you guys. If you can think it, if it has anything to do with religion, this is going to be our playground to just kind of unravel that ball of yarn and get really curious about just things we've taken for granted as truth. And the biggest thing I want you to know about me is I am really committed to helping people embrace their own inner authority. I was raised in a high-demand religion. I am ex-Mormon now. I was raised in a high-demand religion in which I was taught to give my authority, to basically mute my authority, and to instead listen to the authority figures in my religion. And over the past 4 years, since I've deconstructed my faith, I've realized that that's not unique to Mormonism. I have friends who are Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, fundamentalist Christians, Muslims, Jewish. There are so many different people that I've talked to, and this actually also applies to psychological and educational cult members, or people who have found themselves in a political or personality cult as well. So we all share the same trauma. The teachings might be different, but the effect on our identity, the effect on our ability to make decisions for ourselves is really similar. And so in this podcast, I want you always to know that you are the authority in your life. I'm the authority in mine. You're the authority in yours. We're going to discuss things, but I want you to listen to your inner knowing. Some of the things that work for me, work for my family, have worked for my clients, they might not be the right fit for you. And that is completely encouraged for you to listen to, right? I want you to discard anything that I bring up or that we discuss, even if it's with a quote unquote expert. I want you to feel free to take what works for you and what feels good. And I want you to give yourself permission to release anything we talk about that does not feel good, okay? So, I want you to know that this is a place of imperfection. We celebrate imperfection here. I have to tell you that part of working through my own trauma after being in a high-demand religion, my way of coping with high-demand religion was to please, perform, and perfect. So I am a recovering perfectionist. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm a recovering overachiever in order to, get love and belonging from people that were important to me. And that is something that that's going to be a recurring theme in this podcast. We're going to be deep diving into the limiting beliefs that go into people pleasing, into perfectionism, into overachieving, and we're going to talk about healthy alternatives instead. So if you find that you identify as that, but you're not necessarily coming from a high demand religion, by all means, you are welcome here as well. You know that anytime that I'm feeling uncertain or insecure, I do reach for perfectionism. So it was so funny getting ready for this podcast. I wanted to make this whole structured thing. I wanted to, take notes. At one point, I even thought about writing down exactly what I was going to say and just reading it like a little robot. And then I thought, no, that is inauthentic to who I am. I love my imperfect self. And I've learned to celebrate her. And I want you to learn to celebrate your imperfect self too. There's so much beauty in our imperfect humanity. So halfway through writing out what I was going to say for this podcast and realizing that's not the direction I wanted to go. I did not want this to be perfect. And I knew I was reaching for that 20-ton shield, as Brene Brown says, as a way to protect myself from uncertainty. I ripped it up, burned the pieces, and here I am with all of the ums and all of the so's and the awkward pauses and maybe some of the missteps with my language. But that is what this space is about. This space is about showing up in our beautiful, messy, paradoxical humanity and really exploring what makes us feel connected to ourselves, what makes us feel connected to other people, what makes us feel connected to the earth, what makes us feel connected to some sort of higher power. Do we even want a higher power? Is it necessary to have a higher power? We're going to explore grief. We're going to explore death. We're going to explore so many things. And I am so excited that you have chosen to spend your time with me going on this journey. I really think that in this year, we're going to open up some beautiful spaces to learn and expand and to grow not only in our understanding of the world and religion, but my hope is that we'll deepen our compassion for ourselves, that we'll deepen our compassion for one another, and that in some way through this podcast, we'll be able to start extending healing first to our close circle, to our friends and family through our own self-love and self-worth, that will give them permission also to experience self-love and self-worth, but that through those small ripples, we begin to start healing our deeply divided world. That's something that has been weighing on my mind so much in 2020 as I've done my work on Instagram and with my clients and with my own work with my therapist and with my coaches, is that I want to be an agent to help us begin to heal these wide breaches. And I believe that once we begin to have compassion and love for ourselves, we can then extend empathy and compassion and love and understanding to other people. And we're able to talk about difficult topics, things that, make us experience conflict, that maybe make us feel angry, things that maybe make us feel sometimes so frustrated, right? And we have to be able to have those conversations. But to have those conversations and have them go anywhere, we have to be open-minded. We have to be empathetic. We have to be willing. We have to be shame resilient. And that's what this podcast is about. So welcome into the space. I am so happy you're here. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at emancipatedmolly if you want to submit questions, or if there's ever a topic that you're really, really wanting to hear. I have resources over there to help you work through religious transition and trauma. I also have a YouTube video if you're wanting to know my story. I have a very small YouTube video because I was so afraid of doing podcasting there for a while, 2 years to be exact. A friend and I decided we wanted to do a podcast 2.5 years ago, and the technological part of it scared me so much that I put it off, and I thought, you know what, I'm well versed in uploading things to YouTube. And so I will just take a video with my phone and I'll throw it up onto YouTube. And so they're very poorly produced, but people have found a lot of healing and understanding in my story of leaving Mormonism. So if you're curious about my past and about my story, feel free to head to YouTube. I'll be talking about it here on the podcast here and there, but it's, I think, like a 25-minute video or something. And if you just go to Emancipated Molly on YouTube, you can view that. So yeah, I think it's titled something like Why I Left Mormonism. Also, if you ever like disagree with something or you have questions about something, feel free to contact me at one of those avenues and we can discuss more. It's probably better if you contact me on Instagram. I check that way more than my YouTube video pages. There's a lot more trolls on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe if this sounds like something you need in your life. And follow me at any of the places you feel like would be a support to you. And let's buckle up and get ready for this journey. I'm so excited, and I hope you are too.